In Edo, Japan, some samurai were so impoverished they resorted to selling their own swords just to buy food. It's like a modern soldier pawning their weapon to afford dinner. These weren't disgraced warriors, but casualties of a rigid system that trapped them between strict social codes and empty rice bowls. Hey, quick note before we begin. If you actually listen to these regularly, hit like or subscribe. I'm always curious where everyone's tuning in from, so drop your city and the time in the comments. Funny to think some of you might be having breakfast in London while I'm recording this at night here in the States. Anyway, tonight's topic is the struggling samurai of Edo period Japan. But before we dive in, get comfortable. Seriously, adjust your pillows, fix your blanket situation. You're going to be here for a while. The year is 1765. You're waking up in Edo, modern-day Tokyo. Your eyes open to darkness. It's still 2 hours before dawn, but the thin paper walls of your cramped Nagaya row house do nothing to muffle the coughs of your neighbors. It's cold, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones and makes your joints ache. Not like the cozy bed you're in right now. Your sleeping space is just a thin futon laid directly on tatami mats. No mattress, no box spring, just you and a few reed mats between your body and the hard-packed earth beneath the house. Your stomach growls. It's been growling for what feels like centuries, though really only about 12 hours since your last real meal. Hunger makes time stretch. Quiet, you whisper to it, worried you'll wake the children. Your hand searches in the dark until it finds the small iron brazier near your futon. There's hardly any warmth left. The charcoal you could afford was cheap, mostly dust and chips that burn out too quickly, but there's just enough heat to feel the difference between your freezing fingers and the metal sides. In the corner, your wife and 2 children still sleep, huddled under a shared blanket. The 4 of you live in a space smaller than a parking spot. During the day, futons are folded away to make room. At night, the floor becomes your bed. You rise carefully, making no sound. The wooden floor creaks beneath the tatami as you shift. Even the house seems hungry, groaning from its emptiness. Another day, you mutter, your breath visible in the cold. Another day of being hungry yet important. That's the irony of your life. You're samurai, a member of the ruling warrior class. You outrank 95% of the population. Peasants must bow to you. Merchants must show respect, even though they eat better than you have in years. You have the right to wear 2 swords. You're basically nobility. Nobility that can't afford breakfast. The water in the wash basin is topped with a thin crust of ice that cracks under your touch. You splash your face, the shock jolting you awake. At least I'm not paying taxes like the farmers, you mumble. It's a small comfort. Samurai are exempt from the crushing taxes on peasants. Instead, you receive a stipend from your lord, fixed amounts of rice meant to sustain your family. But the stipend hasn't increased in 50 years, even as prices rise. You reach for your neatly folded clothes in the wooden chest. Your fingers brush the worn patch on your hakama pants. You've mended them 3 times, but the fabric keeps fraying. New clothes are out of the question this month. Maybe next month, if the rice stretches far enough. You should eat before heading out. Your stomach protests again, but the rice jar confirms the truth. Barely enough for the children's breakfast. Your wife will go without too, though she'll never admit it. My loyal soldiers, you whisper, patting your swords as you tie them to your belt. The wakizashi and katana together could feed your family for half a year, but selling them would mean selling your identity. Without them, you're no samurai, just another commoner. They're also your only inheritance for your son. The irony isn't lost on you. These symbols of status are both your lifeline and your shackles. You slide open the door to the common area, doubling as kitchen and dining space. Your wife is already kneeling by the small hearth. She must have slipped out of bed while you dressed. You should have stayed asleep, you say. And let my husband go to the castle hungry? She smiles, though her face looks tired. She's found some rice at the bottom of the jar. The pot holds a watery porridge stretched with a few pickled vegetables. Your mouth waters anyway. The children need it more, you say. I've set aside their portion, she insists. You need your strength. It's an old argument. Today, you don't fight it. You kneel and accept the small bowl. Thank you, you say. The porridge is bland but hot. You savor each mouthful. Outside, the sky is lightening. You'll need to leave soon for the castle. The district stirs to life. The thud of sliding doors, muffled voices, a baby's cry. This area is filled with low-ranking samurai like yourself, all struggling to preserve dignity while poverty presses close. I mended your socks, your wife says, sliding a pair of white tabi toward you. The thread doesn't quite match, but inside your sandals no one will notice. You admire the careful stitches. She was once the daughter of a merchant. Her family had opposed marrying into poverty, but she insisted. Now her skills keep the family afloat. How are the children's lessons, you ask? Well enough. Ichiro is quick with his letters. Ume struggles, but tries hard. Education is one of the few things you can give them. As a samurai, you're literate, expected to know the classics, write poetry, understand art and culture. Most farmers and many merchants can barely read. Tell them I'll check their work tonight, you say, adjusting your swords. She bows, half teasing, half serious. Take care, my lord. In public, forms must be kept. At home, you're simply a father and husband trying to provide. You step into the cool morning air. The sky is streaked with pink and gold. Other samurai emerge from their homes, dressed in dark hakama and kimono, swords at their sides, all just as hungry as you. Katzen! A familiar voice calls. Your neighbor Tanaka steps out, his clothes worn but his top not perfect. Walking to the castle? Yes, duty calls. Though I wish duty called later, he says, falling in beside you. And with better pay, you reply. He laughs sharply. Better pay? Dream on. Nakamura says the rice merchant raised prices again. Meanwhile, our stipends are frozen like Mount Fuji. You grunt, an old complaint. Since the Tokugawa shogunate ended warfare 160 years ago, samurai have become bureaucrats and clerks. What was once generous pay for risking your life in battle has shrunk as costs climb. The streets come alive, merchants open shops, craftsmen work, servants hurry. Almost everyone bows to you, though some make more in a month than you do in a year. The silk merchant lives in a house 3 times your size, with servants, but must bow because he isn't samurai. Look at that, Tanaka says, nodding to a merchant eating grilled fish and white rice for breakfast, probably with sake. Your stomach growls, you quicken your pace. Did I tell you about Yoshida? Tanaka asks. His youngest fell sick last month. Doctor's fees consumed their stipend, forcing him to take secret work copying documents for a merchant. If caught, he could lose his position. Samurai are forbidden from trade or manual labor. Yet many secretly work to survive. You think of the unfinished umbrellas hidden under your floorboards, 3 nights' work for 2 weeks' rice. No one can know. The street widens as the castle's massive stone walls come into view. Hundreds of samurai stream toward the gates. From afar, you all look the same, proud warriors serving your lord. No one can tell who ate breakfast and who didn't. Another day of glory, Tanaka says with a wry smile. Indeed, you answer, straightening your back, face calm despite the hunger. Appearances must be kept. The guards bow as you enter. The sun spills golden light over the castle towers, a reminder of the culture your class helped preserve. There's honor in your service, even if there's little food. Though, such confrontations are nothing unusual. Samurai debt is on the rise, and merchants are growing bolder in how they collect. The collector bows stiffly, insisting they meant no offense, promising to return next week as agreed. They retreat into the crowd, and the onlookers, disappointed by the lack of further drama, drift away. Yoshida's shoulders sag once they're gone. Thank you, he murmurs. They've been shadowing me for days. When Tanaka asks how much he owes, Yoshida names a figure that makes your stomach sink, far beyond what any of you could cover. It's for his son's medical care, then food, and then he trails off. It's a familiar cycle. One expense becomes debt, debt brings interest, interest breeds more debt, a spiral increasingly common for men of your rank. Come, you say, deciding. Let's get something to eat. Yoshida starts to protest, but you tell him you've received an advance on a private matter, avoiding mention of your umbrella making, and to consider it a loan until his stipend comes. The 3 of you head to a food stall, the vendor bowing to your swords if not your worn clothes. You order 3 skewers of grilled chicken, a small extravagance, but necessary. Yoshida looks ready to collapse, and your own energy is fading. The first bite is bliss, tender meat, salted and brushed with a hint of sweet sauce. You savor each piece, aware of its rarity. My wife doesn't know how bad it is, Yoshida confesses after finishing. I told her my stipend was cut temporarily. She thinks it'll get better next month. Will it? Tanaka asks. Yoshida shakes his head. I don't see how, unless. He doesn't finish, but you understand. More side work, selling something precious, or a miracle. You walk in silence, thoughts heavy, as the streets quiet and the buildings grow humbler in the samurai quarter. Appearances still matter here, even as reality strains beneath them. Yoshida speaks suddenly of his grandfather, who fought at Sekigahara in 1600, earning his post and stipend from Lord Tokugawa himself, a source of deep pride. Tanaka adds that his own grandfather saved his lord from an assassin while serving the Maida clan. When asked about your family, you shrug, a minor vassal of the Uesugi, later serving Tokugawa. No grand feats, just a scout with a knack for maps. You don't mention that he would likely be ashamed to see his descendant guarding gates and making umbrellas in secret to feed his family. Things were simpler then, Tanaka says. You served, you fought, you died if needed. Now, Yoshida adds bitterly, we serve by pushing papers and standing watch while our families starve and merchants grow rich. You reach the point where your paths split, Yoshida east, Tanaka north, you west. Yoshida bows deeply. Thank you again for everything. Take care of your son, you reply. See you at the castle tomorrow. As Yoshida leaves, Tanaka says, that was kind, buying the food. You shrug. He needed it more than I needed the coins. Tanaka studies you. Not everyone would have done that. We have to look out for each other, you answer. Who else will? He nods. Until tomorrow. You watch him go, then turn toward home. Night has fallen. Lanterns glow in windows and at crossroads. The weight of the day and of your swords rests heavy on your shoulders. 2 swords, symbols of rank, heritage, and identity. They grant you privilege, exemption from taxes, the right to walk the streets with pride. But they cannot feed a family, mend a roof, or buy shoes for a growing child. You think of Yoshida, descended from a warrior of Sekigahara, now dodging debt collectors. You think of yourself, descended from scouts, now making paper umbrellas by candlelight to survive. The world has changed, but the expectations of a samurai have not. Remain dignified, loyal, and educated, on a stipend barely enough for rice. Passing a wealthy merchant's home, you see his lantern-lit garden through an open gate. Servants move inside. The scent of a lavish dinner drifts into the street. The merchant sits on his veranda, sake in hand, enjoying the warm night air. He notices you walking by and quickly sets down his cup to bow respectfully. After all, you are a samurai, and he must show the proper respect. You return the bow more lightly, reflecting your higher status, and continue on your way. The merchant goes back to his sake and comfortable life while you head home to your leaking roof and empty rice jar. Such is life in Edo. The old order and harsh new realities coexist uneasily. The moon rises over the city, casting silver light on the canal you cross. You pause briefly on the bridge, staring at your reflection in the water. The silhouette of a samurai, 2 swords at your side, standing tall and proud, hungry, worried, tired, but still a samurai. With a sigh, you keep walking home. Your family awaits, and the night is just beginning. A lantern is already lit beside your front door, a small beacon guiding you through the dark streets. Your wife must have placed it there. Such a simple act, yet it warms something inside you that has nothing to do with hunger. You slide the door open and quietly announce, I'm home. Your wife emerges from the inner room, bowing formally as protocol demands, even in your humble home. Welcome back, my lord. The children peek out behind her. Your son Ichiro, 9 years old and already trying to stand like a samurai, and your daughter Ume, 6, with her mother's eyes. They bow too, small, formal figures in worn clothes. Father, we've been waiting, they say softly. The weight of the day lifts. Here in this tiny house with its leaking roof and thin walls is the reason you endure everything else, not for the stipend, not for status, but for these 3 who depend on you. How was your day? Your wife asks as she takes your outer garment. Uneventful, you reply, the standard answer to spare her worry. Guard duty at the western gate. Did you fight any bad guys? Ichiro asks eagerly. Making a slashing motion with an imaginary sword, you smile and tousle his hair. No bad guys today, just merchants and messengers. Boring, he declares confidently. Sometimes boring is good, you tell him. It means peace. Peace. In the distance, you see the bright lights of the wealthier districts where high-ranking samurai and prosperous merchants live in large homes with proper gardens. Closer by, your neighborhood is cramped, marked by smaller, dimmer lights. Other low-ranking samurai families living lives much like yours. Your wife joins you, sitting slightly behind, as etiquette demands, even when no one else is around. "The roof leaked again today," she says quietly. "Just in the corner by the storage chest. I know Fujiwara is sending some cypress shingles. I'll fix it on my day off." She doesn't ask how you'll manage it or what it will cost. Some things are better left unspoken between you. "Ichiro is growing so fast," she adds. "His hakama are already too short, and winter is coming. Another expense you can't afford. But children don't stop growing just because their parents are poor. I'll think of something," you promise. She nods, trusting you as always. Her faith is both comforting and frightening. What if you fail her? What if all your secret work, careful planning, and scrambling aren't enough? After a pause, she speaks hesitantly. "My cousin Fujiwara said his wife's sister is looking for someone to teach her daughters etiquette and calligraphy. A lady from a good family. She'd pay well." You tense up. She's suggesting paid work, something no respectable samurai wife should do. Teaching merchant children would be beneath her status, a humiliation. "Absolutely not," you say firmly. "What would people say?" "They don't need to know," she replies. "I could go once or twice a week when you're at the castle. Just say I'm visiting my cousin." It's out of the question. We're not desperate yet. But you both know you are. The difference is she's ready to swallow her pride to keep the family afloat while you still cling to the remnants of samurai dignity. "As you wish," she says, though her tone suggests the matter isn't settled. You sit in silence, the unspoken tension hanging between you like the night air. Finally, she speaks again. "What if it were a samurai family? Surely that wouldn't be shameful." You consider this. Teaching in a higher-ranking samurai household would be acceptable. Such arrangements aren't unusual. Lower-ranking samurai often serve their superiors for favors or small payments. If an opportunity came up, you admit, "We could consider it." She nods, pleased with this small victory. "I'll speak with Lady Mori. I've heard her youngest daughter struggles with calligraphy." Lady Mori is the wife of a middle-ranking samurai in your district. Not wealthy like merchants, but comfortable by your standards. It would be a fitting arrangement. "Very well," you agree, but discreetly. Of course. A cool breeze stirs, carrying the scent of the canal and faint city sounds settling into night. Asamison's melancholy notes drift over the rooftops. "We should go inside," your wife says. "It's getting cold." Inside, the children are already asleep, curled up together on their shared futon like puppies seeking warmth. You watch them, peaceful in sleep, free from the worries that weigh on you. "They're happy," your wife says softly, reading your thoughts. "That's what matters most." "Yes," you agree. "But for how long?" Ichiro already asks questions you can't answer well. "Children are resilient," she says. "They accept the world as it is, until they don't." You sigh. Soon he'll understand that other samurai families live better, that his friends can afford training and new clothes while he cannot. Then he'll see that his father is a man of principle who values honor over comfort, she says firmly. "There's no shame in honest poverty, is there?" But the merchants don't seem to think so. They grow rich while you grow hungry, yet you're supposed to be their superiors. She places a gentle hand on your arm. "Don't let bitterness consume you. That's not the man I married." Her words sting because they hold truth. You've grown resentful, watching the gap widen between your class's status and their wealth. It's an ugly feeling, unworthy of the samurai ideals of self-discipline and acceptance. "You're right," you admit as usual. She smiles, then leaves to prepare for bed. You keep watching your sleeping children, your mind filled with thoughts about their future in this changing world. After some time, you move to the small chest in the corner where you store your few valuables. Quietly opening it, you take out a folded cloth from the bottom. Unfolding it reveals your secret. 5 unfinished paper umbrellas, each needing only a few more hours of work before they can be sold. Tonight should be spent working on them. The merchant expects delivery in 3 days, and you need the money. But exhaustion weighs heavily on you. The early rising, the long guard shift, the emotional strain of the day have drained your energy. Tomorrow, you tell yourself, carefully wrapping the umbrellas back and hiding them again. I'll work twice as hard tomorrow. As you prepare for bed, you remove your swords and place them carefully on their stand. You notice a small tear in your kimono sleeve. Another repair needed. Another expense avoided by careful upkeep. Your wife will mend it tomorrow, using her skilled hands to sew the worn fabric and extend its life a little longer. You settle onto your futon beside your wife, who is already asleep, breathing softly and steadily. The house creaks gently around you, familiar sounds as steady as your heartbeat. Through the thin walls, you hear neighbors moving about, living lives much like yours. Other samurai families doing their best, holding on, trying to keep their dignity in a time when gold is valued more than honor. Sleep comes slowly as worries and plans churn in your mind. The leaky roof, Ichiro's clothes, the umbrella deadline, the winter supplies you need to gather. Each worry connects to the next in an endless loop, tightening around your thoughts. Eventually, exhaustion wins, and you drift towards sleep. As your awareness fades, you think of your grandfather, the scout who loyally served the Tokugawa and was rewarded with the position you now hold. What would he think of what his legacy has become? Would he understand the compromises, the secret work, the borrowed shingles, the borrowed pride? You hope he would. You hope he sees that you are doing your best to uphold what matters while adapting to a world he couldn't have imagined. A world where merchants grow rich while samurai go hungry, and where peace brings its own hardships. Your last thought before sleep takes you is of Yoshida standing tall before his debt collectors, hand on his sword, bearing the weight of generations of samurai on his shoulders. All of you trying to live by a code made for a different time, a different Japan. All of you hungry in body, but feeding your spirit with ancient pride for as long as that lasts. Morning comes too soon, with gray light filtering through the paper windows. Your body protests as you rise, muscles stiff from the hard floor and the previous day's toil. Your wife stirs beside you but does not wake. You move quietly, letting her sleep a bit longer. The house is cold. The charcoal in the brazier burned out hours ago, and the morning air carries a chill that warns of approaching winter. You dress quickly, adding an extra layer against the cold. In the main room, you find Ichiro already awake, practicing calligraphy by the dim morning light. His face is scrunched in concentration as his small hand carefully guides the brush across the paper. "You're up early?" you say softly, careful not to wake Ume. He looks up, happy to be caught working diligently. "I'm practicing the characters you showed me yesterday." You kneel beside him and examine his work. His strokes are growing more confident, though they still lack the smooth grace that comes with years of practice. For a 9-year-old, it's impressive. "Good," you say. "Remember, the brush must flow like water, not stab like a sword." He nods seriously, adjusts his grip, and tries again. This time the character is more fluid, less stiff. "Better," you approve. "Now help me start the fire. Your mother and sister will be cold when they wake." You coax the embers in the brazier back to life, adding small pieces of charcoal, too precious to waste. As warmth returns to the room, you prepare a simple breakfast of leftover rice porridge thinned with water and heated with a few pickled vegetables for flavor. The smell rouses your wife and daughter. Soon, the four of you sit around the small table, steam rising from the hot bowls of porridge. "Itadakimasu," you say together, the same ritual as always, giving thanks for even this humble meal. While eating, you talk about the day ahead. Your wife plans to visit Lady Mori to ask about teaching her daughter. Ichiro will continue his studies and help with chores. Ume will go with your wife since she's still too young to stay home alone. You have guard duty again, this time at the Eastern Gate, a busier post where merchants and officials enter the castle more often. More responsibility, more attention needed, but the same stipend. "I might be late tonight," you tell your wife. "There's something I need to take care of after my shift." She looks at you briefly, understanding what you don't say. The umbrellas, the deadline, the secret work, all pressing on your mind. "We'll save dinner for you," your wife says simply. After finishing breakfast, you prepare to leave, donning your outer garment and securing your swords at your side. The routine is so familiar it feels automatic, tying the cords just right, setting the scabbards at the perfect angle. These small details matter. A samurai's appearance must remain flawless no matter what lies beneath. Ichiro watches you with wide-eyed admiration. To him, the swords still represent heroism and adventure, not the complicated burden you've come to understand. When I'm a samurai, I'll have swords like yours, he declares eagerly. You touzle his hair. Indeed you will. These very swords when the time comes. His eyes grow even wider. Really? They'll be mine? That's how it works, you tell him. From father to son, generation after generation. These swords have been in our family for 3 generations already. One day, they'll be yours to pass on to your son. He reaches out tentatively, fingers brushing the worn silk wrapping on your katana's hilt. I'll take good care of them, he promises solemnly. I know you will. You straighten your clothing for one last time. But that's many years away. For now, take care of your mother and sister while I'm gone. He stands perfectly at attention, every inch the samurai in training. Yes, father. With a nod to your wife, you step outside into the cool morning air. Other samurai are emerging as well, all heading toward the castle for their daily duties. You fall into step with Tanaka, who lives nearby. Another day of glory, he says with his usual wry smile. Indeed, you reply, straightening your back and lifting your chin. Whatever the day brings, hunger, humiliation, hard choices, you'll face it as always, with the dignity of a samurai and the quiet desperation of a poor man. At the eastern gate of the castle, the scene bustles with merchants, officials, and messengers coming and going. Your post is a raised platform overlooking the entrance, giving you a clear view of everyone who passes. 2 other low-ranking samurai stand beside you, their faces as neutral as yours. Guard duty is tedious but manageable. You check papers, verify identities, and watch for any suspicious behavior. Sometimes you escort important visitors to their destinations within the castle. The hours drag on, marked by the sun's slow movement and your water flask steadily emptying. By midday, your stomach growls again. The thin porridge from breakfast did little to fill you, and lunch is still hours away. You do your best to ignore the hunger, focusing on your duty. Kato-san, Watanabe, a fellow guard, calls. There's a merchant here requesting entry, but he's not on today's list. You move to the gate, where a finely dressed merchant waits, flanked by 2 servants carrying large wooden boxes. He bows upon seeing you, but holds himself with a confident air, clearly used to getting what he wants. Good day, honorable samurai, he says smoothly. I am Nakamura Gensuke, purveyor of fine textiles to Lord Matsuura. I bring samples of new silks from Kyoto that I believe the Lord's ladies will find most interesting. You check the list of approved visitors. Nakamura's name isn't there. I'm sorry, Nakamura-san, but you're not on today's list. I cannot grant you entry without proper authorization. The merchant's smile doesn't falter. A mere oversight, I assure you. Lord Matsudara's chief steward, Ishida-san, is expecting me. Perhaps you could send word to him? It sounds reasonable, but something about the merchant's manner makes you pause. His clothes are too fine, his confidence too smooth. Merchants familiar with castle protocols rarely make such mistakes. I'll need to verify this with my superior first, you say. Please wait here. You signal Watanabe to watch the merchant and step aside to speak with the guard captain, who frowns at your concerns. Nakamura? I don't recall that name among the Lord's regular merchants. Ishida hasn't mentioned any textile deliveries today. The captain considers for a moment. I'll send a runner to check with Ishida directly. Keep the merchant waiting until we hear back. Returning to the gate, you find Nakamura waiting, his smile now edged with impatience. My captain is verifying your appointment with Ishida-san, you inform him. It should only take a few minutes. The merchant's smile slips slightly. This is inconvenient. The textiles are sensitive to light and air. The longer they stay in these boxes, the more their value drops. I understand, but protocol must be followed, you respond. Nakamura studies you for a moment, then suddenly pulls out a small silk-wrapped package from his sleeve. Perhaps this will help speed things along, he says quietly, offering it to you. You don't need to open it to know what it contains. Coins, almost certainly a bribe. Time seems to slow as you weigh your options. The package holds more money than you'd earn in months of umbrella making, enough to fix the roof properly, buy winter clothes for the children, and stock up on rice for the cold months ahead. No one would notice. The captain is busy and Watanabe is distracted. The merchant clearly knows how to be discreet, but the shame would be unbearable. Taking bribes would betray everything being a samurai means. Your stipend might be meager. Your family might go hungry, but your honor is something you've kept intact. You misunderstand me, Nakamura-san, you say coldly. I am a samurai. I cannot be bought. For a moment, raw anger flashes across the merchant's face, but is quickly masked by a forced smile. Of course. No offense meant. The package contains merely samples of silk thread I thought might interest you professionally. You both know it's a lie, but you let him keep up the pretense. I have no need for silk samples. Please put them away. Before things get more awkward, a runner arrives with a message from Ishida. As you suspected, no textile appointment is scheduled for today. I'm sorry, Nakamura-san, but Ishida-san isn't expecting you. I cannot grant you entry to the castle today. Perhaps arrange an appointment and return tomorrow. The merchant's face darkens with anger but remains controlled. Very well, I shall do that. Good day, samurai. He departs with his servants, the silk package tucked back inside his sleeve. You watch him leave, wondering how many other guards he'll try to bribe today, and how many will accept. What was that about? Watanabe asks when he returns to your post. A merchant without an appointment, you say simply. Nothing important. The encounter leaves a bitter taste, not because you were tempted you weren't, but because it highlighted how upside down the world has become. A wealthy merchant casually offering bribes to buy the integrity of a starving samurai. The old order twisted beyond recognition. The rest of your shift passes quietly. By late afternoon, you're exhausted, hungry, and eager to finish your official duties and attend to your secret work. When your relief arrives, you bow to the guard captain, collect your attendance token, and head through the castle grounds toward the main gate. The setting sun paints the stone walls in gold and crimson, a beautiful sight you're too tired to appreciate. Instead of going straight home, you turn toward Edeto's commercial district. The streets buzz with late shoppers and merchants closing their stalls. You hold your head high, proud and bearing despite your empty stomach, reminding you of your hardship. After winding through narrow streets, you reach a small shop squeezed between a cooperator's workshop and a paper seller. The sign above reads Takahashi Crafts in simple, elegant characters. You slide open the door and step inside. The shop is dim, lit only by a few oil lamps. Shelves line the walls displaying lacquerware, wooden combs, paper goods, and umbrellas. At the back, an old man sits at a low table, carefully applying gold leaf to a small box. Ah, Kato-san, he says without looking up from his work, on time. Takahashi is a craftsman rather than a merchant. Although he sells both his own and others' goods, he's one of the few aware of your secret work. Good evening, Takahashi, you say, bowing slightly. I'm here about the umbrellas. He sets his tools aside and slowly stands, his old joints creaking. Yes, let's discuss this in the back. You follow him through a curtained doorway into a small room used as both workshop and living space. An apprentice is painting designs on wooden fan frames, bowing respectfully but continuing his work. Tea? Takahashi offers. No, thank you. I can't stay long. The old man nods, understanding. The merchant came yesterday. He's very pleased with your work, especially the cherry blossom design. He wants 6 more by the end of the month. That means working every night for 2 weeks. Exhausting, but the pay would be good, you say hesitantly. But I was hoping to receive payment for the current batch today, for my roof. Takahashi interrupts, reaching into his sleeve. I arranged a partial advance. He hands you a small cloth bag that clinks with coins. You resist counting immediately, but the weight suggests a fair sum. Thank you, you say, slipping the bag into your sleeve. I'll deliver the finished umbrellas tomorrow. No rush, Takahashi replies kindly. The day after would be fine. You look tired, Kato-san. His concern is sincere, making it harder to bear. He knows enough to understand why a samurai secretly makes paper umbrellas, but never speaks of it directly, preserving your dignity. I'm fine, you insist. 6 more by the end of the month won't be a problem. Takahashi studies you briefly, then nods. Very well. Will you need more paper or bamboo? Paper, the thin kind, for the cherry blossom design. Good quality from Kyoto. I'll set some aside. With business concluded, you bow and prepare to leave. As you turn, Takahashi's voice softens. Kata-san, my nephew is a carpenter, a skilled one. If your roof needs fixing, you stiffen. Has your wife been speaking with Lady Mori, then Takahashi? How many know of your troubles? My roof is fine, you say sharply. But thank you. The old man bows, accepting the rebuff without offense. Outside, the streets are darker now, lanterns glowing at windows and crossroads. You walk quickly, the coin bag a comforting weight. Enough to buy rice, charcoal, and perhaps dried fish as a treat for the children. Enough to start saving for winter clothes. Not enough for a full roof repair, but with Fujiwara's discounted shingles, it might be enough. Passing through the entertainment district, the smell of grilled eel and steamed buns tempts your empty stomach. On impulse, you stop at a food stall and buy 3 rice balls filled with pickled plum, one for each child and your wife. Wrapped carefully in bamboo leaves, you tuck the package into your kimono alongside the coin bag. A small luxury, but they deserve it. The residential district is quiet. Families are inside preparing for the night. Light glows softly behind paper windows, and laughter or conversation drifts through the air. As you near your home, you see a figure waiting at your door, a samurai by the silhouette of 2 swords. Your heart races for a moment, fearing discovery or arrest for breaking class rules. But as you approach, you recognize Yoshida, the samurai you and Tanaka helped yesterday. Yoshida-san, you say softly, what brings you here at this hour? He turns and bows. Kata-san, forgive the intrusion. I need to speak with you privately. His nervous glances over his shoulder put you on alert. Come inside. You offer. My family will be glad to see you. He shakes his head. No, better if we speak outside. Won't take long. Curious, you lead him to a small space between houses where you're less likely to be overheard. What troubles you, Yoshida? He breathes deeply, gathering courage. I want to thank you properly for your help with the debt collectors. No thanks needed. We look out for each other. Yes, but he glances around again, lowering his voice. I need to warn you and ask for advice. The debt collectors work for Nakamura Jinsuk. The name hits you hard, the textile merchant. Yoshida nods grimly. Do you know him? I refused him entry at the castle gate today. He tried to bribe me. Yoshida's face pales. Then you must be careful. He's not just a merchant, connected to dangerous people. They don't forget rejection. You absorb the warning, chills running through you unrelated to the evening air. You think of your family sleeping behind thin paper walls with no protection. Thank you for telling me, you say, your mind racing ahead to precautions. But why risk yourself to warn me? Yoshida looks down, embarrassed. You helped me when I needed it. I need your advice again. Of course. I've been offered secret work well paid. Your body tenses. The conversation grows dangerous. What kind of work? Copying documents at night for a merchant house. No one would know. The kind of secret job many low-ranking samurai take, using literacy to earn extra money. Not manual labor, but still forbidden. And you want my advice, though it seems you already know. He nods, conflicted. My son's medicine, the debts, I see no other way. But if caught, my status will be stripped. My family disgraced. My son won't inherit. Everything my ancestors built will end with me. You should be told to refuse, to uphold honor at all costs. That's what a true samurai would say. But you think of your own hidden umbrellas and earned coins. Who am I to judge? I cannot tell you what to do, Yoshida-san, you say finally. Every man must decide for himself, guided by his own situation. But what would you do? He presses. Meeting his gaze, you answer steadily. I'd do whatever was needed to protect my family. Honor matters, but it won't feed a hungry child or buy medicine for a sick one. A shared understanding passes between you, 2 samurai trapped in a world that demands loyalty to ancient ideals while offering little in return. Thank you, he says simply. That helps. Be careful, you warn. If you take the job, tell no one, not even your wife if she can't keep it secret. The fewer who know, the safer you'll be. He nods, bows deeply. I won't forget your kindness, Kata-san. Nor I yours, you reply, thinking of his warning about Nakamura. Now go home to your family. It's late. You watch him vanish into the darkening streets, just another silhouette among many, each carrying unseen burdens, making hard compromises, struggling to bridge the gap between what they were born to be and what survival demands. Turning back, you slide your own door open quietly, not wanting to wake anyone. But they're awake, your wife by the hearth, keeping soup warm, your children looking up from a game of Go, faces brightening when they see you. Father! Umi runs to you, all decorum forgotten. Did you see any bandits today? You smile, ruffling her hair. No bandits, just merchants and messengers. Boring, she declares, echoing her brother's verdict from yesterday. Sometimes boring is good, you remind her, setting down your swords and removing your outer robe. Your wife rises gracefully to take your clothing, her eyes quietly questioning. She won't ask in front of the children, but she senses something weighs on you. I brought something, you say, pulling out the rice balls wrapped in bamboo leaves. The children's eyes widen. Even your wife looks surprised. What's the occasion? Ichiro asks, trying to sound casual. Do we need an occasion to celebrate being together? You counter, kneeling at the low table. You hand them the rice balls, keeping none for yourself despite your hunger. Their joy is enough. You'll have soup later, after they sleep, and you begin work on the umbrellas. How was Lady Mori? You ask your wife. Very promising, she replies, satisfaction in her voice. Her daughter struggles with calligraphy. I start teaching her tomorrow. That's good news, you say, genuinely pleased. Respectable work and modest pay that will still help. And you, she asks. My errand was also successful, you reply, patting the sleeve with the coin bag. I'll tell you more later. She nods. After the meal, you listen to Ichiro read Confucian ethics while Ume proudly shows a neatly stitched pouch. You praise her work until she beams. Soon, your wife announces bedtime. You help tuck them in, promising stories tomorrow. By the fading glow of the hearth, your wife finally asks, what happened? You consider keeping Nakamura and Yoshida's warning to yourself, but she has always been your partner in hardship. She deserves the truth. You tell her everything. The bribe, Yoshida's warning, Nakamura's connections. Concern shadows her face. This merchant sounds dangerous. You should tell your captain. You shake your head. And admit a samurai might take a bribe? No, better to stay alert. At least tell Tanaka, she urges. I'll consider it, you promise, though in truth you'd rather keep the circle small. You pull out the coin bag and count the contents. Enough for rice, charcoal, and still some left over. With your wife's expected earnings from teaching Lady Moore's daughter, there may even be enough to buy Ichiro new winter clothes without dipping into the roof repair fund. Takahashi wants 6 more umbrellas by the end of the month, you tell her as you return the coins to the bag bearing the cherry blossom design. She frowns. That's a lot of work. You're already exhausted. It's good money, you counter. And winter is coming. We need the extra income. She doesn't argue, knowing you're right. Instead, she goes to the storage chest and takes out a cloth-wrapped package. I finished the one you were working on while you were at the castle, she says, handing it over. You unwrap it to reveal one of your paper umbrellas, the cherry blossom design complete, delicate pink flowers painted against pale paper. Her brushwork is finer than yours, the blossoms more lifelike. You shouldn't have risked it, you say, though you're grateful for the help. If someone had come, the children were with the neighborhood tutor. No one saw, she replies, gently touching the umbrella. Besides, I enjoy painting. It reminds me of when my father taught me as a girl. Guilt pricks at you. She was raised to value art and beauty, not to hide in a cramped house painting umbrellas in secret for extra income. She deserves more than you've been able to give. As if reading your thoughts, she places a hand on yours. Stop that, she says firmly. I can see you blaming yourself again. This is our life, not just yours. We face it together. Her strength humbles you. She's always been braver, more adaptable, more willing to do what must be done without worrying about appearances or old codes. I don't deserve you, you murmur. Probably not, she says with a rare full smile that softens her tired face. But you're stuck with me. You laugh quietly, the day's tension easing. A fortunate fate. Night deepens around your small home. Beyond the paper walls, Edo settles into darkness, a city of contradictions, where wealth and poverty stand side by side, where ancient traditions meet new realities. Tomorrow will bring fresh challenges, compromises, and moments of both pride and humiliation. But here, in this quiet moment with your wife, you find a kind of peace, not happiness, which feels beyond reach, but contentment. The umbrella sits between you, its blossoms pale in the dim light, a symbol of your divided life. Samurai by day, craftsman by night. Not the life you were born to, but the life you've made. And somehow, it's enough. Morning comes with the soft patter of rain on your leaking roof. The steady drip into a wooden bucket marks the passing moments of your short rest. You rise before the others, moving quietly through the dim house. Sleep had come late and left early, stolen between umbrella work and worry. Your back aches from hours hunched over paper and bamboo frames, and your eyes sting from working in poor light. It's your rest day from castle duty, a blessing since the roof won't repair itself. Sliding open the door, you step onto the porch and survey the morning. The rain is light but steady, soaking everything slowly. Not ideal for roof work, but you can't wait for perfect weather. Fujiwara's cypress shingles, delivered yesterday while you were at the castle, sit stacked neatly by the house, protected by oiled paper. Good quality wood, worth far more than you'll pay, another debt you can't fully repay. You're up early, your wife says, appearing in the doorway, a thin shawl around her shoulders. The roof won't wait, you reply, gesturing at the gray sky. Better to fix it before the rain worsens. She studies the shingles. Will you need help? No, I can manage. You have your teaching to prepare for. She nods but lingers, noticing the fatigue you try to hide. Did you sleep at all? Enough, you lie. The umbrellas are coming along well. I finished 2 more last night. You're pushing yourself too hard. We need the money. It's an old argument neither of you can win. Your family's needs always clash with the limits of your strength and time. Sleep is usually what gives way. I'll make breakfast, she says, letting the matter drop. The children will wake soon. While she works in the kitchen, you study the roof from below. The damage is small, but the leak has worsened since last winter. Left unchecked, it could compromise the whole structure, a cost you could never afford. By the time you gather your tools, breakfast is ready. Rice porridge, thicker than yesterday's, with dried fish flakes on top, a small luxury made possible by yesterday's payment. Are you fixing the roof today, Father? Ichiro asks. Yes, the light rain will help show exactly where the leaks are. Can I help? He asks eagerly. You weigh the risks. Roof work isn't too dangerous, and another set of hands, even small ones, would help. Besides, a samurai should know how to care for his home, even if it's not a skill normally taught to warrior sons. Yes, you decide. You can hand me tools and shingles, but follow my instructions exactly. Understood? He nods, pleased. Ume looks disappointed to be left out. And you tell her, can help by keeping the area clear below. Stack the old shingles neatly for burning later. Her face brightens. She knows nothing goes to waste, not even damaged wood that can still give warmth. After breakfast, you begin. The rain has eased to a drizzle, still damp, but manageable. You set the neighbor's ladder against the house and climb with your pouch of tools. Ichiro follows halfway, ready to pass up shingles and tools as you work. Ume waits below with a small basket, ready to catch falling debris. The damage is worse than it looked from the ground. Water has seeped under several shingles, rotting the wooden supports beneath. Those will need replacing as well. Fortunately, Fujiwara had included extra supports along with the shingles, as if anticipating the extent of the problem. Hand me the pry bar, you tell Ichiro. He searches the tool pouch and hands you the small metal implement. Carefully, you remove the damaged shingles one by one, passing them down to Ichiro, who drops them to Ume. The work is slow and deliberate. Each shingle must come free without harming its neighbors, and the rotted wood must be cut precisely so the new pieces will fit snugly. As you work, you explain each step to Ichiro. See how the water follows the easiest path? That's why the overlap matters. It forces water to run over, not through. He listens intently, asking sharp questions about the wood, tools, and technique. You find yourself enjoying the teaching as much as he enjoys learning. This was never part of your own samurai education. You learned roof repair through necessity, watching others and practicing until you could manage it yourself. By midday, the damaged wood is gone and the new supports are going in. The rain has stopped, though the sky stays gray. Your wife brings tea and rice balls, which you eat perched on the ladder and roof. It looks good, she says from below. Will you finish today? Yes, before evening. The new cypress will last for years. She nods, then glances at the sun. I should prepare for my lesson with Lady Mori's daughter. Basic brushstrokes today. Go, you say. We'll manage. She leaves with Ume, and you and Ichiro resume work with renewed focus. The support pieces fit perfectly, and the cypress shingles, straight-grained, dried, and cut with precision, locked together to form a watertight barrier against winter rains. Hand me the last one, you say. Ichiro passes it up with a proud smile. We did it, father? Yes, we did. You set it in place and seal the edges with pine pitch, a sticky gift from Fujiwara that fills the smallest gaps. When it hardens in the cool air, the job is done. That should hold for years. Ichiro beams. It looks better than before. That's because the new wood hasn't weathered yet. In time, it will turn gray like the rest. You gather the tools, muscles sore from awkward positions, and store the leftover shingles for future repairs. With your wife and Ume gone, the house feels empty. Ichiro practices his calligraphy while you scrub the pine pitch from your hands. Spotting a small tear in your sleeve, you take out the sewing kit and mend it yourself. Father, Ichiro asks suddenly, is it true merchants are richer than samurai now? The question catches you off guard. Where did you hear that? He shrugs. Tanaka's son said his father told him merchants have all the money while samurai have all the honor. He said honor doesn't fill rice bowls. You choose your words carefully. It's complicated. Long ago, samurai fought for their lords and were rewarded with land and rice stipends. But after many years of peace, our role changed to officials and guards. The stipends didn't change with the times. But we're still better than merchants, right? We're samurai. You meet his gaze. Being samurai isn't about being better than others. It's about living with honor, serving loyally, and doing what's right, even when it's hard. Merchants also serve society in their way. We each have our place. But Tanaka's son says some samurai secretly work as merchants because they're hungry. Your pulse quickens. That would be wrong. Samurai are forbidden from trade or manual labor. It would dishonor their lord and ancestors. Even if their children are hungry, he presses. You take a deep breath. A true samurai finds honorable ways to provide for his family. Sometimes that means sacrifice. He returns to his calligraphy, thoughtful. You resume mending, wondering how long it will be before he understands the compromises you've made yourself. As evening approaches, you check the rice for dinner. Barely enough. You'll need to visit the merchant tomorrow with some of yesterday's earnings. Tonight, you'll stretch it with barley and dried vegetables, as many poor samurai families do. Your wife and Ume return with the damp chill of early night. Ume excitedly describes Lady Mori's grand house and garden and praises her mother's skill. Lady Mori was kind, your wife says, blushing slightly. She's asked me to teach both her daughters 3 times a week, 2 silver main per week. She produces a silk-wrapped bundle containing 2 lengths of deep blue cotton for winter clothes for the children, left over from her own daughter's garments, but enough for both Ichiro and Ume. Consider it gift, offered in a way that preserves your pride, more a practical use for leftover fabric than charity. Still, a familiar pang of shame rises at accepting help, even like this. Your wife, noticing, touches your arm gently and reminds you that refusing would be rude, and that the children need warm clothes for winter. She's right, of course. Pride won't keep them warm when the snow comes. Lady Mori is generous, you say at last. Please thank her when you see her. Ume strokes the fabric with wonder. It's so soft. Can I have a blue kimono like Lady Mori's daughter? We'll see, your wife replies, carefully wrapping the cloth again. First, let's have dinner. Your father and brother must be hungry after the roof work. The family gathers at the low table, your wife serving a humble meal, rice and barley porridge with pickled vegetables and a small portion of dried fish split 4 ways. It's not much, but with the satisfaction of the repaired roof and the good news about your wife's teaching job, it feels like a celebration. Tomorrow we'll visit the rice merchant, you tell her, and perhaps the fishmonger. We can afford a little extra now. She nods, a faint smile touching her lips. These are modest plans by most standards, but for your household, they bring rare breathing room. After the meal, as the children clear the dishes, you pull a worn book from your small shelf of treasured volumes, samurai legends and histories passed down through generations. Shall I read tonight? It's hardly a question. Story time is a cherished ritual when you're home. The children settle on their knees as you begin the tale of the 47 Ronin, men who avenged their master's death, knowing it would cost their lives. You give each voice character, building the tension as their careful plan unfolds. Ichiro listens intently, mouthing familiar lines. Ume drifts toward sleep against her mother. You soften the ending for young ears, omitting the harsher details of the Ronin's ritual suicide. That's how samurai should be, Ichiro declares. Loyal, no matter what. Yes, you agree, closing the book. But remember, they didn't act in haste. They planned and considered the consequences. A samurai must be thoughtful as well as brave. I do the same, he says with certainty. You smile. Let's hope you never must. Later, after the children are asleep, you and your wife sit by the dying embers. The roof looks good, she says. Ichiro was proud to help. Her simple comment stirs a pang. He wants to be like you, a samurai making umbrellas in secret, accepting discounted shingles and leftover cloth, stretching rice with barley. Is that the life you want for him? I want better, you admit. But how when merchants grow rich and samurai grow poor? She pauses, then says, perhaps the world is changing faster than we think. Class boundaries aren't as strict now. Look at Nakamura's daughter marrying a merchant's son. That's trading status for wealth, you counter. Ichiro's birthright is his status as a samurai, but what good is it if he can't support a family? There are new paths, she suggests, service to the Lord in new roles, diplomacy, advisory work, though all require connections or bribes you don't have. Then we save, she says firmly. From my teaching and your extra work, not for us, but for Ichiro's future. The thought takes root, a long-term plan beyond just surviving the next winter. Even a mountain can be moved one stone at a time, she reminds you. Very well, you agree. Starting tomorrow, we save something from every payment. She retires, leaving you alone with the umbrella work. But instead of starting, you sit quietly, considering her plan, saving for your son's future as a small act of defiance against your limits. Outside, the rain has passed, revealing stars scattered across the dark sky. The same stars your ancestors saw, the same that future generations will see. Will they understand what it was to be both privileged and poor, honored yet struggling? Eventually, you return to painting delicate cherry blossoms on the umbrella. The day's labor has left your hand unsteady, but the work is good enough. Time passes in the quiet, the roof holding firm against a brief shower. When the umbrella is done, you stretch aching muscles, satisfied, not just with the day's work, but with the roof repaired, the savings plan begun, and the sense of moving, however slowly, toward stability. You bank the fire carefully, check the doors, and lie beside your sleeping wife. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, negotiating with the rice merchant, making more umbrellas, finding ways to keep dignity intact while surviving. But tonight, you rest. Sleep takes you into dreams of samurai riding to battle when honor alone could fill a rice bowl. Yet even there, some part of you knows the world has changed, and you must change with it. Outside, the night deepens over Edo, wrapping rich and poor alike in darkness, while tomorrow's sun waits to rise on a city in transition. A world where old traditions clash with new realities, and you find yourself caught between them, rising each day to meet whatever comes. 3 weeks pass in a steady routine of castle duties, crafting umbrellas and managing the household with care. Each day brings small wins and losses in the ongoing struggle against poverty. The roof withstands the autumn rains, and your wife's teaching role with Lady Mori thrives, earning praise and steady wages. The children visibly improve, nourished by more fish and vegetables. Tonight, under a faint half moon over Edo, you sit on your modest porch, savoring a rare moment of rest. The last umbrella from the merchant's order arrived yesterday, bringing payment that allowed you to buy winter clothes for the children and save a little for the future. The tiny copper coins, wrapped in cloth and hidden beneath a loose floorboard, mark the start of something new, not just survival, but hope and planning. Your swords lie beside you on the porch, unbelted but always within reach. Earlier, you spent an hour cleaning and oiling them, a weekly ritual, whether or not they've been used. The familiar act of unsheathing the blades, wiping them with oil-soaked cloth, and inspecting for rust or damage connects you to generations of samurai who performed the same tasks across Japan's history. The short wakizashi gleams in the moonlight, its hilt freshly wrapped in silk cord, an expense justified as essential maintenance. The longer katana shows signs of age, small chips hinting at battles fought by your grandfather or great-grandfather. Both blades remain razor-sharp, ready for a purpose unlikely to come in this peaceful era. "They're beautiful," your wife says quietly, appearing behind you with a cup of tea. Even after all these years, they catch the light like living things. You accept the tea with a nod. "My grandfather said a samurai's soul lives in his sword. I used to think that was just poetry." She settles beside you, warming her hands on her cup in the cool evening air. "Now I wonder if he meant it more literally. These swords are our legacy, our identity. Without them, what is left of the samurai?" She drinks thoughtfully. "Honor, courage, loyalty. The warrior's path isn't just about weapons, is it?" "No," you agree. "But it's harder to see those values without the symbols that represent them." A comfortable silence falls, filled with the sounds of Otto at night, distant voices, the clack of wooden sandals on stone, the occasional bark of a dog. Nearby, the soft twang of a shamisen drifts through the air, a melancholic tune matching your reflective mood. "I saw Yoshida at the castle today," you say after a pause. "How is he?" Your wife knows some of his troubles, but not all. "Better, I think. His son's health has improved, and he seems less burdened." You don't mention your suspicion that Yoshida has taken on secret scribal work. Some things are safer left unspoken. "I'm glad," she says simply. "He's a good man, steady in hard times like the rest of us." Another silence settles, heavier with unspoken thoughts, until your wife breaks it with a surprising question. "Do you ever regret being a samurai?" The question strikes deep, touching doubts you rarely voice. "I didn't become a samurai," you remind her. "I was born into it." "You know what I mean. Do you wish your grandfather had chosen a different path? That we were merchants or craftsmen instead?" You consider carefully before answering. In a society rigidly divided by class, this is almost treasonous. Yet here, in your home with only the moon watching, truth feels more important than convention. "Sometimes, yes," you admit. "When the children are hungry, when I see merchants wearing silk while we mend cotton, when I hide my work beneath the floorboards." You trail off, tracing the rim of your teacup. "But then I remember what being samurai means, not just poverty and restrictions, but heritage and the code we live by. That still has value." She nods, understanding. "And for the children, what do you want for them?" A harder question still. What parent doesn't want more for their children? But what does more mean in a world where class is fixed at birth? Where a samurai's son is a samurai regardless of his gifts or wishes? "I want Ichiro to have choices," you say finally. "More than we had, whether as samurai or something else." It's the closest you've come to suggesting your son might one day step beyond the limits of his birth class, a radical idea in a Edo society. Your wife isn't shocked. She simply nods, as if you've confirmed what she already suspected. "And," she prompts, "a good marriage," you say automatically, the standard hope for a samurai daughter. Then you reconsider. "No, more than that. I want her to have what you have. Intelligence, strength, dignity, the ability to face life's challenges without breaking." Your wife smiles softly, barely visible in the moonlight. "She already has much of that. She watches, learns from everyone, especially you." "Me?" you ask, surprised. "I thought she idolized you." "She does, but she watches you to learn how to be brave, how to endure hardships." Children see more than we realize. This thought is both comforting and frightening. What else have your children noticed that you thought was hidden? Do they know about the umbrellas, the borrowed shingles, the endless worry over money? As if sensing your thoughts, your wife adds, "They see your strength, not just your struggles. That's what they'll remember." You hope she's right. That when your children look back on these lean years, they'll remember a father who kept his dignity despite poverty, who found ways to provide without losing his honor. Not a father who made paper umbrellas by moonlight and hid them under the floor at dawn. A shooting star streaks across the night sky, a brief, brilliant arc vanishing as quickly as it came. In old tales, such signs foretold change, Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Did you see that? Your wife asks, wonder in her voice. Yes, you reply. An auspicious sign, perhaps, or just a beautiful moment on an ordinary night. You smile at her practicality. That too. The shamisen music grows louder as the player moves closer to your district, its haunting notes drifting on the cool air. Your tea is cooled, but you drink it anyway, unwilling to waste even the smallest thing. We should go in, your wife says eventually. Tomorrow comes early. In a moment, you answer, not ready to end this rare, peaceful pause. I want to watch the moon a little longer. She understands, rising gracefully and sliding the door closed behind her to keep the warmth in. Alone, you turn back to the night sky, to the silver moon hanging over Ado like a polished metal mirror. Your grandfather once told you the moon looks the same to everyone, emperor and farmer, samurai and merchant, rich and poor. Its light shines equally on palaces and hovels, offering the same beauty to all, no matter their birth or status. As a child, you found this deeply democratic, a hint that society's strict divisions might not be so absolute. Now older, burdened with adult worries, you see a different meaning in the moon's impartial glow. Its beauty is indeed shared by all, but some watch it from silk cushions while others from bare wooden porches. Some sip fine sake, others cold tea. The moon remains indifferent to these distinctions, but people do not. Society is built upon them. Yet, something is shifting in Edo, in Japan, a faint tremor barely felt but undeniably there. The old certainties are slowly breaking down, challenged by economic realities that place merchants above samurai in practical influence, if not official rank. What will society look like when Ichiro is your age, when his children grow up? These thoughts aren't yours alone. In tea houses, castle halls, on merchant ships, and in samurai gatherings, whispered conversations ask the same questions. Change is coming. Perhaps not violent upheaval, but a gradual, profound transformation of society itself. The shooting star feels more meaningful now, a fleeting glimpse of possibilities still forming. A cool breeze stirs, carrying the scent of the canal and the first hint of winter. You should go inside, join your family in warmth, and rest for tomorrow's duties. Yet you linger, cherishing this moment of solitude and reflection. Your swords gleam beside you, symbols of a tradition centuries old. Your calloused hands, shaped by sword practice and umbrella making, rest lightly on your knees. In this moment, your divided life feels less like a burden and more like a bridge between old and new, tradition and necessity, the samurai you were born to be and the provider you have become. Maybe that's the real strength of the samurai, not strict adherence to ancient codes, but the ability to adapt while holding on to core values. Your grandfather fought with steel. You fight with your mind, your hands, and your refusal to give in. Different weapons for different battles, but the same courage. This thought brings unexpected comfort, a fresh perspective on your daily compromises. Making umbrellas isn't a betrayal of samurai heritage. It's an expression of its deepest values, caring for those under your protection, enduring hardship, and creatively overcoming obstacles. The moon continues its path across the sky, indifferent to your revelations. The shamisen player has moved on, the music fading into the night. Inside, the soft sounds of your wife preparing bedding and the children shifting in sleep remind you of your family, your responsibility and greatest achievement beyond rank or wealth. Taking a deep breath, you gather your swords and stand, muscles stiff after sitting so long. Tomorrow brings new challenges. Guard duty at the castle, talks with the rice merchant, perhaps another umbrella order from Takahashi. But tonight, beneath the impartial moon, you find a moment of peace with your divided life. Inside, the charcoal brazier warms the air, scented with the evening meal. Your wife looks up, question in her eyes. The moon was beautiful tonight, you say. She smiles, sensing you mean more than the sky. Yes, sometimes things reveal their true nature in the right light. You carefully place your swords on their stand, not hidden like the umbrellas, but honored with respect. A samurai's soul may live in his blade, but his heart is at home with those who share his struggles and joys. The children sleep soundly, Ume's small hand near her face, Ichiro sprawled with youthful abandon. Looking at them, you renew your silent promise to build a better future, no matter the cost. The small stash of coins beneath the floorboard is only the start. As you prepare for bed, Washing briefly with basin water and changing out of your day clothes, your mind turns over possibilities for tomorrow, next month, next year. Not just survival, but growth, progress, change. Your grandfather would understand. He fought with steel to secure his family's future. You fight with bamboo and paper, teaching and roof repairs, careful budgeting and late-night labor. Different methods, same goal. Your wife extinguishes the oil lamp, plunging the room into darkness, save for moonlight filtering through paper windows. You lie beside her, warmed by her presence, comfort after the cool night air. Rest well, she murmurs, already drifting off. And you reply, though sleep feels distant despite fatigue. Your thoughts spin. The merchant may want more umbrellas as winter nears. Your wife's teaching might open doors among Lady Maury's circle. Maybe Tanaka knows of extra tasks at the castle that pay a bit more. Gradually, practical concerns give way to deeper questions. What does it truly mean to be samurai in this changing world? How do you honor your ancestors while adapting? When does necessary compromise become loss of identity? There are no easy answers, but asking these questions brings its own peace. You're not blindly following a set path, but consciously navigating your complex time, making choices that respect tradition and meet your family's needs. Your breathing slows, muscles relax, exhaustion finally winning over restless thoughts. The last image before sleep claims you as your son's face, proud and determined as he helped repair the roof, already showing the qualities that define the finest samurai. Whatever the future holds, those qualities will serve him well. Outside, Edo sleeps beneath the watchful moon. Mansions and hovels, palaces and row houses, rich and poor, highborn and low, all surrender temporarily to sleep's equalizing embrace. Tomorrow, the social roles will resume. But tonight, in dreams, those boundaries dissolve. The night deepens. The half-moon journeys across the starry sky. In your small home, 4 souls rest peacefully, bound by blood, love, and shared struggle. And perhaps somewhere, your grandfather's spirit watches over you, seeing in your daily battles the same warrior heart that once drove him to face enemies with steel and courage. Different battlefields, different weapons, but the same essential fight to protect, provide, and persevere. Such is the true way of the samurai. Such is your way. In the morning, you will rise again to meet the day's challenges, armed with steel at your side and bamboo hidden beneath your floor. Contradictory tools for a contradictory life, but effective in their own ways. Like you, a low-ranking samurai of Edo, poor in wealth, rich in honor, hungry in body, fed in spirit, divided in practice, united in purpose. Sleep now. You are warm, safe, surrounded by loved ones. The struggles of Edo's poor samurai await tomorrow. But for now, let them fade into the gentle realm of dreams, where swords bloom like flowers and hunger becomes feast, where the moonlight falls equally on all, and where peace, however fleeting, rules. Your breathing deepens, joining the rhythm of your family's restful sleep. Another day ends, another begins in the endless cycle carrying us all, regardless of time or place, toward our shared destiny. Rest well, samurai. Your watch is over.